An urgent court application has just concluded to interdict the ANC Eastern Cape Elective Conference. Our reporter Aviwe Mtila was following those court proceedings and joins us again. Aviwe, that judgment is expected to be handed down electronically, but it seems it's unclear whether this interdict is requesting for the conference in its entirety to be stopped or to be delayed. Initially, only the urgency being questioned by this court hearing. What's the latest?
So, Annalie, zooming in at the Dr. Rubusana region. That's the region we're currently in at this very moment that's hosting this elective conference. It's saying that there were a number of irregularities in the BGMs that sat here and the lists were manipulated. For example, it points out how dead people ended up being part of the lists and the outcomes there. Some of them don't even reside in the Rubusana region anymore, and some of them, we understand, that appeared in these branch lists were in jail, for example. So they're suggesting that there were identity documents that were taken and that information placed on those lists, and which led to the manipulation of it. So they came to court on an urgent basis, saying that these branches that have been impacted and were cited as those that have been manipulated shouldn't take part in the voting that we're expecting to elect the leadership of the ANC in the Eastern Cape. But the ANC itself is saying that this application was not urgent. And just to get better clarity on this, I am joined by the Deputy Mayor of Buffalo City Municipality, which falls under the Dr. Rubusana region, and that's Princess Faku. Thank you for joining us at eNCA, but I want to touch on why the ANC suggests that this matter is not urgent.
Thank you very much. We don't feel the matter is urgent because the African National Congress has dealt with the disputes that were raised by those branches. Some of those branches were requested to rerun, and those branches did rerun. There were National Dispute Resolution Committee which gave out verdicts. So we don't understand. Hence, our advocate was emphasizing that it's an individual application because those branches are not disputing the process.
Individual application, how? So I just want to get that understanding from who, because I understand part of these members are part of the Rubusana region, or does it have any broader bearing on the contestation that's currently happening?
It's the first applicant on the application. He's the one who's representing himself because those branches, some of them have received the PDRC verdict. They did not then go up and appeal at a national level. So they were satisfied by the decision of the province. Those that were not happy about the decision of the province, they did appeal at a national level. So they accepted the decision. And some of the branches were requested to rerun, meaning that hold your BGM again. I don't want to get into the details of people that are staying far. There's no such thing because the scanner is established by Lutuli House, so you can't be scanned when you are far away. I don't want to get into the merits of what, but all I can say confidently that all those disputes of the 9 branches that were on the statement, they were concluded by the African National Congress at the national level.
But I actually want to bring you in those merits because as much as you say that there's a scanner, I'm sure that scanner couldn't have scanned someone that's deceased, for example, or someone that's in jail. And then that particular branch will be allowed to vote in such a crucial elective conference that will elect the leadership of the ANC. Surely there's merit to these allegations.
If you have listened to the applicant, there's a letter that was stated by the office of the SGO implicating some of the people who have done these things, which the investigation is still ongoing. Hence, I'm saying that I don't want to deal with the merits because the people that are involved in that process are under disciplinary processes.
And this matter, I'm assuming, will be one of the matters that will appear in the credentials that are to be adopted when the conference kicks off at 9 o'clock?
Remember, all branches that will be participating in the provincial conference, they will be presented in the credential committee. Each and every branch will be there participating. The credentials, remember, all branches that are participating are given a go-ahead by the national office.
Okay, and just on the broader conference itself, Dr. Rubusana region supports the current PTT convener, Oscar Mabuyane, and these branches, I'd assume, would have the bearing in terms of the delegates that are supporting Oscar Mabuyane.
No, they would not have a bearing because these are only 9 branches, and we are confident because our lawyers did submit the affidavit showing that all the internal processes were concluded. It's only 9 branches. It's not the whole Rubusana. You have listened when the case was presented in front of the court.
Okay, thank you very much. Princess Falco, the Deputy Mayor, they're talking on the branches that have been impacted by this court application. You'd understand that earlier on in the briefing we heard that 40 branches in Rubusana region have been given the go-ahead to participate fully, while those that have these irregularities will be allowed to vote, but then those votes will be quarantined. It's not only in the Rubusana region, it's also in the Krisani region, where we do understand there 97 branches in good standing will be allowed to vote, while there are those also that will be allowed to vote, but the votes being quarantined. Of course, this plays a bigger role in terms of the outcomes even of the conference itself, given how closely it is, and in fact some of these dynamics already playing out, where we heard Mlibo Koboshiane, the third contender, suggesting that he's now aligning, in fact, while having conversations with Babalo Matikizela, and saying that those conversations are at advanced stages, suggesting that he might be the one playing the role of the kingmaker. But when it comes to this particular court case, we're expecting the judgment then to be delivered, one electronically, but we've also been told, just to wait around and see while the judge is just tallying up that judgment, if he will not deliver it any minute now via these court proceedings, of course, which we'll be bringing you here. That's Judge laying on this urgent court application that's been brought forward by 5 members of the Rubusana region, who are saying that, in fact, there are branches that have a lot of irregularities that shouldn't partake at the conference and the voting itself.
Aviwe, if this urgent interdict is in fact granted, what impact would that have on the continuation of the conference?
The conference itself should continue, but of course this is one of those matters that will be taken up in the credentials. We're expecting a long night when the conference resumes at 9 o'clock. As we've heard, I was speaking to Babalo Matikizela just earlier on, mentioning this, in fact, and how people that are deceased are appearing on the BGM list, people that we understand don't reside in those certain regions are appearing in these lists, and just a number of irregularities leading up to the conferences. So this would be one of those issues that would have to be delved upon when conference resume at 9 o'clock in those closed sessions where we're expecting the credentials to be adopted. But in pertaining this particular High Court urgent application, if the applicant was to be successful, it will then state that those 9 branches, or those branches in fact that have these manipulated outcomes and irregularities in Rubusana region, they are not to partake at all, given that the PTT earlier on said that they could vote, but their votes then will be quarantined and not be tallied as of the official numbers, depending even on the outcome and what bearing it would have.
Super. Thank you very much, Senior Reporter Aviwe Mtila, bringing us that update.